In 1993, the Philippines thought they were building a national defense icon, but they actually created a $54 million sitting duck. The Philippines GKN Simba 4x4 armored personnel carrier was pitched to the public as the ultimate symbol of domestic military self-reliance. Yet, behind the patriotic ribbon-cutting ceremonies at Subic Bay lay a terrifying reality. In any high-intensity ambush, this supposedly proud local war machine was completely exposed, defenseless, and practically useless. On paper, it was meant to secure the nation. In reality, it trapped Filipino soldiers inside an illusion. The story began in 1989, when the Department of National Defense launched a procurement program to replace aging military vehicles. In 1993, Manila signed a $54 million contract with United Kingdom contractor GKN Defense for 150 Simba vehicles, costing roughly $360,000 per unit. The deal was celebrated because 140 of those units were assembled locally by Asian Armored Vehicle Technologies, incorporated in Subic Bay under the Self Reliant Defense Posture initiative. However, leading global defense analysts argue that this domestic production was a total illusion, often described as a basic screwdriver assembly operation. The local factory did not forge armor steel, manufacture Perkins 210 Thai 210 horsepower diesel engines, or produce transmission systems. Every core strategic component arrived fully built from the United Kingdom in knockdown kits. When the 150th unit rolled off the line in 1997, the assembly facility dissolved immediately, leaving the Philippine Army with zero intellectual property, zero manufacturing capability, and an orphaned fleet. Before we go on, do you think assembling foreign kits can ever truly create a self-reliant military? Subscribe to the channel for more deep defense analysis, and tell me where you are watching from. The severe technical limitations of the GKN Simba became painfully clear as soon as it encountered tropical realities. Weighing 11.2 metric tons, the vehicle relied on a commercial 4x4 chassis to reduce costs. Its monocoque steel armor was only 8 millimeters thick at its maximum point, designed strictly to resist standard 7.62 millimeter rifle rounds. Crucially, the hull featured a flat-bottom design without a V-shaped structure, making it extremely vulnerable to improvised explosive devices. On paper, their only tactical salvation in urban warfare would be heavy standoff distance, which tropical environments rarely allowed. Operating in southern regions like Mindanao exposed major engineering flaws. The Perkins 210 Thai engine, originally engineered for cooler European climates, suffered frequent overheating in ambient temperatures exceeding 38 degrees Celsius and humidity levels above 90%. To keep the engines running during low-speed patrols, crews were routinely forced to open the engine compartment hatches, leaving the vehicle power pack completely exposed to enemy small arms fire. The ultimate reality check occurred between May and October 2017 during the Siege of Marawi, when insurgent forces deployed RPG-7 anti-tank rockets and heavy-caliber anti-material weapons in close urban quarters. The Simba proved dangerously inadequate. The 8mm armor was easily penetrated, while the flat hull transferred maximum blast shock directly into the crew cabin. Rather than serving as an offensive assault asset, the Simba was deemed too fragile for leading urban pushes. Field units were forced to improvise by strapping wooden planks, thick cardboard boxes, and sandbags around the Simba hulls to create crude spaced armor. Leading defense analysts noted the bitter irony that soldiers had to protect the very machine bought to protect them. The Philippine Army ultimately withdrew the Simba from frontline assault waves in Marawi, relying instead on upgraded M113 tracked vehicles. Following the combat shortcomings in Marawi, the GKN Simba faced an even more devastating crisis behind the scenes, a complete logistical collapse. Because the British armed forces never adopted the Simba, the manufacturer had no domestic incentive to maintain long-term production lines. In 1998, GKN Defense sold its military vehicle division to Alvis plc, which was subsequently acquired by BAE Systems in 2004. With no other major international customers ordering the platform, BAE Systems permanently shut down the Simba spare parts supply chain. This corporate restructuring transformed the Philippine fleet into an orphaned inventory almost overnight. Deprived of factory original replacement parts, military mechanics were forced to cannibalize dormant vehicles just to keep operational units running. Out of the original 150 vehicles delivered by 1997, defense analysts estimate that less than half remained fully mission-capable by the mid-2010s, as dozens were systematically stripped for engines, axles, and electrical components. The logistical nightmare extended beyond simple mechanical maintenance. Operating the Simba forced the Philippine Army into a fragmented supply ecosystem. Maintenance crews had to manage parts for aging American M113 tracked carriers, older V150 Commando 4x4 vehicles, and the British-origin Simba, all while integrating newer platforms like the Israeli upgraded M113, A2 variants equipped with remote-controlled weapon stations. By 2020, maintaining the orphaned Simba fleet cost up to 3 times more per operational hour than managing modern standardized armored vehicles. On paper, their only tactical salvation would be a costly total fleet overhaul by third-party defense contractors. But military planners recognized that putting modern electronics onto a structurally vulnerable 1990s chassis was economically unsustainable. The orphan platform had become a financial sinkhole, draining precious maintenance budgets that could otherwise support comprehensive archipelagic defense modernization. As the armed forces of the Philippines pivoted toward the comprehensive archipelagic defense concept to counter maritime threats, the role of lightly armored 4x4 vehicles like the GKN Simba reached its natural end. Most of the remaining Simba fleet has been gradually placed into storage or retired from active combat duties. However, the costly $54 million failure of the Simba project ultimately yielded a vital strategic lesson, laying the groundwork for modern Philippine defense policy. Leading global defense analysts argue that the Simba tragedy exposed the critical dangers of superficial local production, where simple kit assembly was mistaken for genuine industrial capability. This hard-earned lesson directly influenced the passage of Republic Act 12024, also known as the Self Reliant Defense Posture Revitalization Act, enacted in October 2024. Under this updated legislation, foreign defense vendors seeking contracts in Manila are legally required to provide verifiable technology transfer, locally manufacture strategic components, and guarantee long-term supply chain support for at least 20 years. This policy transformation is evident in recent procurements, such as the acquisition of Guarani 6x6 armored personnel carriers from Brazil and Sabrah light tanks from Israel, where strict long-term life cycle support agreements were built into the contracts. Ultimately, the story of the GKN Simba proves that true defense self-reliance cannot be built on foreign screwdriver assembly lines or hollow political promises. A war machine does not fail merely when enemy fire pierces its armor. It fails when flawed procurement dooms it to isolation before it ever enters the battlefield. Do you think the new legislation under Republic Act 12,024 will prevent future procurement disasters? Or will developing nations always remain vulnerable to defense supply chain traps?